winter afternoon here in Phoenix, Arizona. We're actually in a little bit of a cold front. I know actually two videos ago, we were in a warm time period. We transitioned and we're flip-flopping back and forth, and now it's going to be really cold again. In fact, it's supposed to reach 32 degrees for a low here next Monday, which is not very exciting for most of the green yard. But we are over here in our stone fruit, our orchard part of the green yard on the side of the green yard. And this part is actually very excited for that colder temperature. We have all of our stone fruits, our pears, our apples, our peaches that like that extra cold temperature this time of year, so that way they can set fruit properly and really produce, which is what we're hoping for, because I can't wait to eat all of these fruit, or all of this fruit this summer. So the reason we're over here though is because we're doing another winter pruning video. Pruning in the winter is very important for our stone fruit trees because it helps set them up for the growth that they're going to have next year. It also helps them to set fruit properly and a whole bunch of other things. We're over here today with our beautiful Asian pear tree. I am so excited about this tree. I really am hoping that we get some flowers this year and we get some fruit, and it actually looks like we're going to, and we'll show you that in a little bit. This tree is kind of interesting because this is one of the ones that I actually planted in our old house, and then I took it out of the ground, put it in a grow bag, and moved it over to the green yard. It was doing fantastic, and we actually trimmed one of our giant mulberry trees. We took this huge branch off, and as we were doing so, one of those branches came and it crushed this tree. So this growth is actually from after being crushed. It was literally down to just barely above the rootstock, so about a foot or so above. It is still above the graft, so it is still an Asian pear tree, but it was very devastating at the time that here I had worked so hard to get this tree to grow, and now it's going to set me back. But it looks like this year we're going to get some fruit, and I'm very excited about that. Let's talk about growing an Asian pear tree here in the Phoenix desert. Here we go. So we're over here with our beautiful Asian pear tree. It actually grew about 4 feet this last year. You can see all the way up at the tippy top up there is where it ends. That will be pruned and trimmed as we go through and we do our pruning today. Winter pruning with pear trees, from my research and from my experience, very similar to pruning our apple trees. We want to have kind of a central lead that's coming off. This one I'm going to leave the two on either side just because I'm okay with that look. And you'll notice that when it did chop off, it actually was right here in the middle, and so these two split from where it got knocked over and gotten chopped off. So I'm okay with both of these guys growing and thriving this year. I am going to thin it out a little bit. You'll notice that some of these branches are crossing each other. We don't want that. We definitely want to have more of side growth going on. We also want to make sure that the growth is going to the sides, but also that it's going to the sides in a positive way. You'll notice on here, just like our apple trees, we do have some of our leaf stems here. So these are going to be our leaves. They look a little bit different than our apple trees, but it's still really cool that we can see those leaves already. And then we have some of our flower stems, like this beautiful one right here, which is going to be one of our Asian pears in the not too distant future. So very exciting. I'm hoping that I get to do a harvest video and a growing video this year after our pruning video. So let's go ahead and let's get to pruning. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and disinfect our loppers again. Really, this one just needs our hand trimmers, but I cannot find them, so we're gonna use our big trimmers again, just like last time. Using my rubbing alcohol, want to make sure that I disinfect the blade of the trimmer, so that way if our pink lady apple tree, which is what I trimmed last time, if it had any sort of disease or anything, I'm getting rid of it. I'm disinfecting the blade so that way I don't spread that disease to this beautiful tree. So I'm just going to go ahead, disinfect it here, make sure I get all sides, all area of the trimmer, just disinfect it all. All right, perfect. So I already mentioned how we want to look for our shape. We also want to look for any of the branches on the inside. So I'm going to go ahead and trim the inside first, and then I'll deal with height here in a minute. And then for height, I don't want it to be quite so tall. There's a potential for it to snap in the wind, things like that. So I am going to bring it back down to about that 6-foot height. When I'm trimming and I'm bringing it back down, you want to cut above the leaf node. That way it allows that leaf node to grow out. And you want to kind of pick one that's growing in the direction that you want it to. So for example, I wouldn't pick, there's a leaf node back here on this side of this branch. I'm not going to pick that one because I don't want the tree to grow inside. I want it to grow out this way instead. So we're going to go ahead and trim that. I'm actually going to trim it back down to about here. There's a nice leaf node that's pointing this direction. All right, so there we have it. Went ahead and trimmed our beautiful Asian pear tree. I'm so excited for this year. I think it's going to do amazing things. Last year it just took off. It handled everything amazing. The heat, even in the winter, it did really good too. So it is doing awesome at this moment in time. Like I said before, I do have some flowers on here. I'll do some close-ups of that, but flowers are amazing. I'm so excited to hopefully get some Asian pears this year. I've tried them before. I really like the fruit, and you know, it's something that is somewhat easy for us to grow here in the Phoenix area. I'll do a growing update in the springtime once we get some leaves on here as well, but it is really just a beautiful tree. So hopefully it's set up for its springtime, its new growth with that fresh prune. It's a smaller tree, so definitely didn't take as long as our pink lady. As always, hope you guys are doing well, and I hope you live green, plant lots, and of course have fun. We'll see you next time.